All right, let's just dive right in. Today, we're looking at a scenario in this explainer that honestly keeps a lot of infrastructure engineers and home lab operators totally awake at night. Disaster recovery for a Proxmox node. There's this really alluring promise out there that a quick host configuration backup is going to totally save you if your boot drive suddenly fails. But as we're about to see from a recent, super fascinating deep dive analysis, the reality of a node recovery is way more complicated than just hitting a magic restore button. I want you to be totally honest and ask yourself this. If your Proxmox host literally dies today, can you rebuild it without reconstructing every single detail from memory? Recently, an administrator actually put this exact question to the test. They took a complete host configuration backup, wiped their node entirely, reinstalled Proxmox from scratch, and attempted a full bare metal recovery. What they found was a pretty wild mix of encouraging successes and, well, some harsh realities about what a backup actually protects. So, here is our roadmap for the explainer today. 1. Expectation versus reality. 2. Unpacking Proxmox node state. 3. Beware the hidden traps. 4. Evaluating alternative recovery methods. And finally, 5. A bulletproof recovery strategy. Let's get into it. Starting off with Section 1. Expectation versus reality, and the partial success of a host restore. Just look at the stark contrast between expectation and reality here. When this admin wipes the node and restored the encrypted backup from their Proxmox backup server, a bunch of things actually did come right back. The host configuration, installed packages, and system settings, boom, restored. And that's fantastic news, right? It proves that a config-focused workflow definitely rebuilds a node much faster than doing it all manually. But you gotta look at what was missing. The VM and LXC disks, the storage pools, the actual guest data, the pass-through details, and the cluster state. None of that was there. All of that stuff demands completely separate protection and validation. And this perfectly illustrates a really important concept we need to define: the infrastructure shell. This is basically what you get when your host config restores perfectly, but your virtual machines and container disks are completely missing. It's kind of like restoring the blueprint of a house without any of the furniture inside. It's useful for sure, but it's incomplete. A team can successfully restore a node and still have absolutely nothing useful to run if those guest backups are missing, corrupted, or worst case, restored on that failed boot drive. Simply put, host configuration recovery and workload recovery are two entirely different jobs. All right, moving to Section 2, unpacking Proxmox node state. Why exactly do configuration backups miss your workloads? So a Proxmox node contains 3 distinct categories of state. Let's break them down. First, you've got your host state. This is your network config, cluster files, cron jobs, module settings, and package selections. Second, you have workload metadata. Think VM and container configs, resource assignments, and startup orders. And finally, third, you have the workload data. This is the really heavy stuff, right? The multi-terabyte virtual disks, the application data, the actual databases your business runs on. The crucial takeaway here is that a host configuration backup protects the first category, and maybe parts of the second, but it completely misses the third. A real complete disaster recovery design has to intentionally protect both the control plane and those heavy workloads. That brings us to Section 3, beware the hidden traps. We're talking pmxcfs, manual recovery, and some really nasty circular dependencies. Let's look at one of the biggest technical criticisms from the source analysis, the backup trap of the Proxmox cluster file system. If you look at /etc/pve, it honestly just looks like a normal directory. But actually, scratch that, it isn't. It's an illusion, a view provided by pmxcfs. The actual, real underlying state is stored in a database sitting under /var/lib/pe cluster. If you write some generic script that carelessly copies both of these directories, you're capturing the exact same logical configuration through 2 different views. And if you try restoring them together, you create conflicting, duplicate assumptions about which copy is the authority. It can literally break your cluster quorum the minute you boot up. You simply cannot treat a Proxmox config backup like a standard zip file. Now, because of all these crazy complexities, some admins just throw their hands up and rely on manual recovery. But guys, this path is an absolute procedural nightmare. Think about it. You have to recover core sync authentication keys before cluster communication can even think about returning. You've got to reestablish SSH links, import ZFS storage pools in highly specific stages, just so local VMs can even see their storage, and meticulously match old network configs. The pain isn't just typing out the commands. It's the massive chain of interdependent decisions you have to make in the exact right order, all while under immense pressure because production is down. It relies 100% on having incredibly disciplined nodes, which, let's be real, most of us rarely update. And this fragility, it totally multiplies when we introduce new hardware into the mix. Check out this quote from the source. A configuration that boots perfectly on one machine can fail on another. I mean, restoring to identical hardware is hard enough, right? But if you're restoring to a brand new replacement server, you're dealing with renamed network interfaces, entirely different storage controllers, shifted PCI addresses, and altered firmware behavior. A blind file restore just cannot reason about hardware differences. Your network files might be desperately searching for old interface names, or your pass-through configs might just bind to the wrong device entirely. It's a mess. I want to pause right here and ask you a very direct question. Where are your encryption keys and Proxmox backup server credentials stored right this second? Like, are they securely accessible without your main host being online? Because if you don't know the answer to that, you might be walking right into the circular nightmare. Picture this. Your node is wiped. Okay, no problem. You need your backup from the Proxmox backup server to restore it. But wait, you cannot access PBS because the connection details, the data store credentials, the certificate fingerprint, and the encryption key itself are all trapped inside the very backup you're trying to restore. It's a total catch-22. An intact, encrypted backup is 100% useless if the key is locked inside it. So let's pivot to Section 4. Evaluating alternative recovery methods, namely imaging, block level, and automation. Let's break down the 3 most common workarounds admins use. First up, full disk imaging using tools like Clonezilla. Its main strength? It gives you an exact bit-for-bit copy of the host. But the weakness is that this data becomes stale super quickly, it takes forever to run, and hardware differences make it super rigid. Second, we have block-level backups using ZFS or LVM snapshots. Technically, this is really appealing for a perfect point-in-time view, but the operational design to actually restore it cleanly is incredibly complex. Finally, there's configuration management, like Ansible. It's highly repeatable and lets you treat hosts as totally replaceable, but its biggest weakness is coverage. It only restores what you formally encoded, meaning it's going to entirely miss that one-off driver block list or that hacky bash script you slapped together at 2 a.m. to fix a kernel panic and then completely forgot about. Which brings us to this absolutely brilliant summary from the analysis. Backup preserves accidental state, automation preserves declared state. This really hits the nail on the head. Mature environments almost always need a mix of both. You need the declared state so things are repeatable, sure, but you absolutely need the accidental state to capture all those messy, real-world workarounds that actually make your specific hardware function properly. Which leads us to our final section, Section 5, a bulletproof recovery strategy. Let's talk about building a layered disaster recovery framework. The absolute foundation of this strategy is realizing one simple truth. A raw configuration backup can restore state, but it does not restore understanding. Good documentation restores both. You really need a tested build document that captures the why. Why on earth was that kernel parameter added? Which specific driver had to be blacklisted for the network card to work? How exactly was pass-through configured? Over time, these notes evolve into a reproducible build recipe, which becomes invaluable, especially if you're suddenly forced to restore onto completely different hardware. Bringing it all together, here is the ultimate 5-step layered disaster recovery strategy derived directly from the source analysis. Step 1. Back up your VM and LXC workloads completely independently through a tested system like PBS. Step 2. Back up your host configuration on a regular schedule and store it off the node itself. Step 3. Keep your encryption keys and minimum restore credentials in a secure, entirely offline location to break that nasty circular dependency we talked about. Step 4. Document your full host build intent, networking, storage, and kernel settings. And Step 5. Test a clean reinstall procedure on a fully wiped system. Seriously, do not rely on a process you haven't actually tested from absolute zero. I want to leave you with this final, kind of provocative thought. You might be looking at your dashboard right now, seeing a whole bunch of reassuring green check marks. But ask yourself, is your backup actually complete, or is the job just green? A backup is only truly complete when your team can rebuild the node and restore the workloads without having to improvise while under fire. So take the time to build a layered framework, understand the quirks of your host's architecture, and please test your recovery. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this helps you secure your infrastructure for good. Catch you next time.